Good morning, everybody. It is October. I took a couple weeks off for Italy, and we are back with the Degenerate Economy. As always, I start with the index that I created, imperfect as all indexes are, because I only want to own, under 20 stocks, but the performance continues to be incredible over the 2 years, up 168%. We can scroll down and look at some of the positions. A couple small changes over the last few weeks, but Google, a firm I sold, and somehow that's still showing it as a position, so I apologize, but Google's still the largest position at 12%. Okay. Onwards. This was in South Korea where the markets, it's kind of like the new Japan, the new United States in terms of people's fascination with trading, both crypto and stocks. And get used to seeing this, right? We make fun of the young people, but they're learning a language. They're learning the language of markets, which is a universal language, right? Price, volume, research, opinion, news. This is a great language. It's out of the box. It's been made easy by Robinhood, Alpaca, Coinbase, and the likes, YouTube, Twitch, Stocktwits, Twitter, Reddit, as we said, it goes on and on. This has been now a global phenomenon. It's not just Chinese kids. It's not just American kids. Southeast Asia is a massive trend. And I call it speculation as is becoming entertainment. These young people that you think are just stupid doing sports betting and parlays, while you're looking over there, over here is a whole new world of news, media, and I call it T-pop. I think in Korea they call it K-pop when they did music, and I call this trading pop. T-pop is a name that I'm giving this phenomenon, at least in South Korea. Obviously, leading into our next piece of news, which is that ICE, the New York Stock Exchange, a roll-up of exchanges, ticker symbol ICE, which is part of the Degenerate Economy Index, is investing $2 billion in an $8 to $10 billion valuation in Polymarket, which is a 5-year-old business started by the once homeless and once detained by the FBI, Shane Copland. And this is a young man who, like him or not, this kid is a figurehead in what new markets are. And as he says in the opening to his post, markets on everything. And honestly, I wish I could take credit for being involved in this trend early. Prediction markets have been around for a very long time. I've never found the mass traction. It's very important for weather, flights, et cetera, but it's never really made itself to mainstream. But here we are. And I find the most fascinating thing about this part of the degenerate economy is no one was looking for it, right? We were just 5 years ago, we wanted to hang people at Robinhood because of confetti. And here we are 5 years later with ICE. And I think this is the most important thing, is that while Silicon Valley teamed with the White House to take over, underneath it all, Wall Street is back doing its thing and teaming up with different forms of modern technology to cement themselves in what I think is the biggest market of all, which is global, interconnected 24/7 markets. So you may not like what you're reading here, but trust me, it's not going away. And this is just the beginning. There's also, we're going to hear from CBOE, we're going to hear from CME, we're going to hear from the NASDAQ, we're going to hear from Silicon Valley, we're definitely going to hear from the White House. And the White House, the Trump family owns a piece of Polymarket, and I imagine their competitor, Kalshi. So this is some of the biggest news. And as you know, Stocktwits is a partner of Polymarket. So congrats to the investors and to Shane and the team at Polymarket. This is cementing itself for the next 20 years in the event space, markets on everything. So finally today, let's go to Stocktwits, which is kind of one of the hubs of the degenerate economy, which I don't talk a lot about here on my show, even though I'm the CEO. And you're going to hear a lot of talk as I have done about Polymarket, about Robinhood, and about Coinbase. But underneath it all, the hundreds of thousands of daily active users on Stocktwits have been surfacing some of their own, what they find degenerate. And I think probably the biggest story of the year in the markets has been rockets, right? You probably have not heard it on CNBC that much or on Wall Street Journal, but there's a couple companies that the Stocktwits stream in their degeneracy and infancy have been following. ASTS and RKLB, right? And Elon gets all the press, but these are two stocks that both were trading in single digits and now in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s over the last year or two. And there's been a lot of people on Stocktwits that have been all over this sharing. And one thing about Stocktwits that's different than any other social network is that you can search your old posts, and we've tracked your picks. And so we're finding people sharing that they're up 3,000-4,000% in their basic stock holdings over the last 2 years on stocks that now are hitting the all-time high list every day and starting to get mainstream press. They've been climbing 7 to 10% a day now over the last 2 weeks, but over the last 3 years, we're just incredibly under the radar. Another one that is the center of degeneracy is a China company called Luckin Coffee, which we talk about here, which tens of thousands of Stocktwits users have been behind, which is kind of the Starbucks of China, which is making its way into the United States. So I hope today's show goes to show you that this degeneracy is not just about the companies that make up the Degenerate Economy Index, but it's about this whole T-pop lifestyle. This whole idea that these group of people get together and find ideas without institutions backing them and hold on to these stocks for multi-thousand% gains. Have a great day. See everybody next week.